Imagine this. It's 1846. Two nations stand on the edge of destiny. One is a rising power fueled by ambition, expansion, and belief in manifest destiny. The other, once vast and proud, is crumbling under chaos, corruption, and political betrayal. When these two collided, the result would redraw the map of North America forever. This is the story of the Mexican-American War, the war that changed everything. Chaos after independence. It all began long before the first shot was fired. The year is 1830, less than a decade after Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821, following an exhausting 11-year revolution. But the newly independent Mexico was far from stable. No clear government, no economic foundation, and no plan for unity. Imagine trying to rebuild an entire country after a decade of war without money, leadership, or direction. Mexico stretched over 4.5 million square kilometers, one of the largest nations in the world at that time, yet it was falling apart inside. So here's a question for you. Do you think a nation born out of chaos can ever truly find peace before it faces its next enemy? The growing giant. Meanwhile, north of the border, the United States was booming. It had just purchased the Louisiana Territory from France and was pushing deeper into Native American lands. The U.S. was hungry for land, power, and expansion. But opportunity soon knocked again, in the south. Mexico's instability led several regions to rebel, including Texas, which declared independence in 1836. Though the U.S. initially refused to annex Texas, fearing the addition of another slave state, that hesitation didn't last long. When James K. Polk became president in 1844, his campaign promised two things: annex Texas and reoccupy Oregon. But secretly, Polk's eyes were fixed on something bigger: California and New Mexico. He offered to buy those territories from Mexico. Mexico refused. So what does a power-hungry empire do when diplomacy fails? It moves troops. Blood on the border. In early 1846, Polk sent General Zachary Taylor to the disputed land between the Nueces River and the Rio Grande, territory claimed by both nations. Then, on April 25, 1846, Mexican cavalry attacked a small group of U.S. soldiers, killing about a dozen. Polk seized the opportunity. He declared to Congress, "Mexico has invaded our territory and shed American blood upon American soil." And just like that, on May 13, 1846, the United States declared war. But here's the thing. Even Ulysses S. Grant, who fought in that very war, later admitted that Polk provoked Mexico into firing first, just to justify an invasion. So, tell me in the comments, was this a defensive war or a calculated land grab?
The return of Santa Anna. Now enters one of history's most unpredictable men, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. A man who switched sides more times than anyone could count. Royalist, Republican, dictator, exile, and once again, president. After the U.S. declared war, Mexico's desperate government allowed Santa Anna to return from exile in Cuba, believing he'd lead their army to victory. But what they didn't know, Santa Anna had already made a secret deal with the U.S. Navy to let him pass their blockade in exchange for peace talks. Of course, once he stepped foot in Mexico, he betrayed everyone. He seized power, declared himself president again, and prepared for war. Classic Santa Anna.
Battles across a continent. From Texas to California, the war exploded across the continent. In the north, General Taylor won early victories at Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma. In the west, General Stephen Kearny marched into New Mexico, taking Santa Fe without firing a single shot. He even created a new civil government, the Kearny Code. Further west, in California, U.S. naval forces took San Francisco and Los Angeles. By the end of 1846, California was under American control. The war, however, was far from over.
Monterey and Buena Vista. Taylor continued south, capturing Monterey after brutal street fighting, a rare taste of urban warfare for the Americans. He signed an armistice allowing the Mexican forces to withdraw, but President Polk broke it. Then came the Battle of Buena Vista, 1847. Santa Anna personally led 15,000 troops against Taylor's 4,600. The fighting was fierce, cavalry charges, artillery thunder, and smoke filling the mountain pass. For a moment, the Americans were on the brink of defeat, but exhaustion and chaos struck the Mexican army. Santa Anna retreated, claiming victory in propaganda, but leaving the battlefield behind. Some historians argue, if Santa Anna had attacked one more day, could Mexico have turned the tide?
The road to Mexico City. Polk wasn't satisfied. He sent General Winfield Scott to lead a new army, by sea. In March 1847, Scott launched the first amphibious assault in U.S. history at Veracruz. After a brutal bombardment, the city surrendered. Then Scott marched west, straight for Mexico City. Along the way, his troops fought at Cerro Gordo, Contreras, and Churubusco, defeating Santa Anna's armies again and again. Finally, in September 1847, after bloody battles at Molino del Rey and Chapultepec, U.S. forces stormed Mexico City. The Mexican flag was lowered. The war was effectively over.
The treaty that changed the map. With its capital occupied and army shattered, Mexico had no choice. In 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed. The terms: Mexico lost half its land, including California, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico. The United States paid just $15 million, about $440 million today. Later, the Gadsden Purchase finalized the modern U.S.-Mexico border.
Reflection. So what was it all for? A young America gained massive territory and became a continental power. Mexico lost its pride, its land, and decades of progress. And though many celebrated victory, not everyone saw it that way. Even soldiers like Ulysses S. Grant called it one of the most unjust wars ever waged by a stronger against a weaker nation. So here's a question for you. Was this destiny or imperialism wrapped in patriotism? The Mexican-American War reshaped North America forever. It gave rise to California, Texas, and the American Southwest, but it also left a scar that still echoes across the border today. If you found this story fascinating, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories that changed the world. Because history isn't just about what happened, it's about what it cost.